So our first guest is Director Iancu. We were really looking forward to Eagle Council this year because Director Iancu is, Andrei Iancu is one of our favorite of the Trump administration appointees. He is the Undersecretary of Commerce. That's the title you get as an umbrella because he is the Director of the U.S. Patent and Trademark Office, which if you don't understand American enterprise, you might say, well, patents and trademarks, what's exactly going on there? Until you realize that at the heart of America's success has been this extraordinary ability for inventors and creators to have a share in what they created, to incentivize what they do. And so it's extraordinary. And Phyllis Schlafly wrote, we have a whole book of her writings on this topic. We could spend hours on it. But Director Iancu, he is the one who it's the world's largest intellectual property office. He's an attorney who's practiced in private practice for many years. And one of the things I like best about Director Iancu is when you ask the people from the swamp about him, they say, well, he was a lawyer, like a big-time lawyer, that he wasn't a bureaucrat. He wasn't somebody that had been angling to do this or that. He was somebody that worked in America and made things work and came all the way across the country to take this position. So, Director Iancu, welcome and thank you for your interest in the work that we do at Phyllis Schlafly Eagles, and welcome to the Eagle Countdown. How are you today?
Great. Well, thanks for having me, Ed. Quite an honor. And when I first came on, I very fondly remember you coming to the PTO to meet with me very early on.
Yeah.
And I remember what you said to me at that point, and it stuck with me. And
well,
I'm
thank
sure we'll
you.
get to some of it.
Yeah. Well, thank you. And that was a long time ago, you're right. And one of the things I tell people is that we're looking at this time, we're saying, okay, there's an election coming, that's true, but what are the promises kept of this presidency? What did the Trump-Pence administration do? And when you look at, for example, your office, the president got a good person to run it, got a good team to run it, and then said, go and do better and better. And I think there's lots of successes you can talk about. I do want to mention, and we're going to have our big Eagle Council event in person in January or February. We have to get the date. We got delayed. But at that event, we'll redo this too, but I want to make sure to tell you, we created an award particularly to highlight how important this position, what you do is, and what happens in our country, because in other parts of the world, if you have an invention or you have something you create, the government will own it for you until they give you some chance to be a part of it. I don't want to pick on the communist regime in China, but it's an example where the power for a creator is dependent on the government deciding if you can utilize that thing you created. In America, we have this enterprise system, and we created this award. We call it the Phyllis Schlafly Friend of American Invention Award. And we recognize leadership to strengthen the U.S. patent system and to advance the exclusive right of inventors to their inventions for limited times. That's always been the American system. Recipients of this award, and Director Iancu is our premier one, will have shown leadership in advocating and working for reliable and enforceable patents. These award winners, the people who we consider the Phyllis Schlafly Friend of American Invention, they stand up for this patent exclusivity and for people reaping the benefits of their own labor and their own invention. And so it's really my pleasure. We've been a big fan of yours, Director Iancu, your professionalism, your team's approach to how they do things, to give you this award. I wish you were here together to get it, but to give you this award, I'll look forward to delivering it and then having you again. But congratulations on this award, and for everything you do. We want to say thank you and honor you and pay our respects. So congratulations.
Well, thank you so much, Ed, and thank you so much to the Eagle Forum. What an amazing honor, really. I couldn't have imagined, so I very much appreciate it. I don't know how your schedule is, Ed. Can I say a few things before you get into questions?
Yeah. Please do. Yes, please.
Well, great. Yeah, thanks. And really, all I wanted to say is, again, to thank you for this honor, and the awards really fortifies the legacy Phyllis Schlafly has left, and furthers the contribution of American inventors. Phyllis was a champion for inventors and invention, and that protects them through her many writings and speeches and the like. She was a champion for the protections provided inventors by the U.S. Constitution, and in particular, Section 8, Clause 8. She truly understood the tremendous sacrifice required of an individual to bring a successful idea to market. She encouraged individuals and small companies in particular to invent. And as we all know, she acquired the understanding of and passion for inventors while at home during the Depression from her father, who holds U.S. patent, actually patent number 233791, rotary agent. I can't be more delighted to say the importance of Phyllis's work on behalf of inventors, and that you and the organization continue with this essential mission. The importance of innovation is more clear now at this particular time than ever, and can't be overstated. Phyllis understood that. She truly understood the importance of innovation to the quality of life in America and the advancement of it. And again, thank you for carrying on her tradition. We are ardent supporters of inventors. The forum is playing an important role in renewing our country's commitment to innovation, invention, patenting, and entrepreneurship. We need this renewal now more than ever because our nation's economy is under competitive. Our prime rival has a sophisticated and well-funded strategy to dominate the world's most technological industries. The targeting of American IP requires our U.S. government, our corporations, our universities, to effective defense and not allow the most important assets to be stolen. At the same time, it also requires to develop and deploy effective offense through increased innovation right here in America and renew our economy. We need to increase the number of people engaged in the U.S. economy. We must broaden the population of American inventors to include women, minorities, and potential entrepreneurs who live across the land, and many of them far away from the current technology hubs. We need hands on deck. Innovation can be the great equalizer in America, and in particular what I spoke when he first came to the WTO. Innovation can be the great unifier. Shared goals. You mentioned this to me, and it's stuck with me all along. For this, however, we must work on constitutional need of a strong and reliable intellectual property system by the Constitution itself, securing for limited time authors and inventors the right to their respective rights and privileges. Anyway, so I'll look forward to our discussion with you, and again, many thanks for you.
Thank you. Thank you, Director Iancu. And we still are having a little bit of a technical difficulty, but I can hear you pretty well. So, and we also have, by the way, Director Iancu, you know from being in the D.C. area, every now and then you get either lucky or unlucky. Near our office, just off of Capitol Hill, are some folks that are deciding today. Now is the time to protest about the Supreme Court vacancy. So you'll hear banging of drums or something. So sorry about all the noise outside. I want to ask you first, in your tenure, the ranking by the Chamber of Commerce, which has a ranking on patent on the offices, and we've gone, I think, from like 10th or 12th up to 2nd. Singapore is the top. We're the 2nd. I know when you started, you told me many years ago now, 3 or 4 years, you had a couple of priorities. One is to make what the patent office and what it meant accessible to the whole country, that there was times where you felt like perhaps middle America or minority communities didn't have a connection to what the patent office, a trademark office, what they were doing. And second, then just making the office effective and going from 10th or 12th to 2nd. Talk about how you came in. I mean, you know, I had an old a friend of mine who said the new broom sweeps clean. You know, you come in, you got to take on your own ideas, but still, how did you envision what you did and sort of the highlights of your work in the office?
Well, look, when I at the very beginning, we must do 3 things. Number one, we must change the dialogue surrounding intellectual property in the United States, and we must have a pro-IP dialogue. And then I said we must increase the reliability of the patent grant. And there are a lot of subsets to all that. We really have been able to do all of that, and I am quite proud. We have now, over the past few years, developed a much more pro-innovation in this country. We champion the inventors and the extent of innovation and the great benefit they bring to American society and the rest of humanity. And on the technical front, we increase the reliability of the patent grant in a variety of ways to it. But we have issued guidance for applicants as how to do the analysis for patentable subject matter in the United States PTO, Patent and Trademark. We have drastically reduced the system that has patents at the PTO and courts. So one is to balance the system. What I said in the speech had when big inventors helping invent more. And the answer is yes, it's mostly good. But if the answer is no, really should how are we doing? So we've mentioned all the progress that we made. We've done quite a bit more than that. And the PTO has done to help innovation in this country.
Well, it's been extraordinary to see and to notice, and I've mentioned with you, Jim Edwards, one of our colleagues who works so hard on these issues of protecting property rights and patents, and as he has talked about over his long career in public policy, and seeing just what 3.5 years has made a difference. It's a credit to President Trump for getting good people like you and your team, and then a credit to you. And so we certainly encourage you. Unfortunately, you'll understand when I say this to you, it's hard for us to do this virtual thing, and Senator Chuck Grassley is coming up next after you. And so even though you've got a big job, I think I'm going to have to close out here. Let me say one thing, though. Director Iancu spoke at our our patent event. Jim, was it a year and a half ago? A year and a half ago, gave an extraordinary speech, which we have on video, sort of a history, what he was doing. And I'll make sure we put that up on social media. And I can't wait when we do our Eagle Council in January or February. If God wills, it will be in the first two or 3 weeks of the next term of President Trump. And we hope that your work will continue and so important. So sorry for the difficulty virtually, but thank you for everything you do. And congratulations on this award. We'll look forward to seeing you soon.
Thanks, Ted. Thanks for having me, and keep up doing the great work that you do on behalf of American innovation.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, Director Andrei Iancu. He's the Undersecretary of Commerce of Intellectual Property, Director of the USPTO, one of the extraordinary people that President Trump hired. Has done a great job, and you hear it all across Washington, which is people understand these policies, but across the American economy for the success. So thank you, Director Iancu, and we appreciate it.